And he got it! This is it! He missed it!
There it is, second U.S. Open.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
A piece of history, young man.
You best believe he did it! The title! You got it! The 10. Big strike for Vi.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for the final day of match play at the 2022 U.S. Open from Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana. My name is Aaron Smith, and we are ready for 2 8-game rounds to determine our top 5 after 56 games, 4 absolutely challenging, brutal lane conditions for our FS1 stepladder final. Top 5 making it tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time for that. But right now, our 24 competitors left in the field are on the lanes. They're getting ready. Once again, 16 games today, 2 rounds, the one starting right now, and then the final round, including the position round, at 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on bowltv.com. So without any other waiting, let's get to the action. A lot of great matchups throughout the course of the day, a lot of bonus pins to collect as well. So with that, we are going to take a look at our tournament leader, E.J. Tackett, as he takes on Matt Kuba and Francois Lavoie against Jason Belmonte, a matchup of past U.S. Open champions. Back on the 40-foot condition that these players have now seen for the 3rd time. So already 16 games under their belts here, 40-foot condition, the final pattern for the rest of the U.S. Open after 3 different patterns, 45 feet, 37-foot flat, and then 41 feet during the 24-game qualifying session. So you mentioned E.J. Tackett, your tournament leader, had an absolute monster cashers run. He kind of slowed down a little bit. And reading Matt Canizaro's recap story on bowl.com during match play round 1 last night, kind of had a love-hate relationship with what he was seeing out on the lanes here at Woodland Bowl. But the important thing for EJ is he still collected 5 wins and maintained a 200-plus lead over his next closest competitor. So let's run down the top 5. Here at the U.S. Open, E.J. Tackett plus 1,115, 1-1, 1-5, 5-3 record. He is 213 pins ahead of Jake Peters, who had he had the block. He had the big block yesterday. Was the only player to surpass plus 300 for the 8-game block. He went 304 over and posted a 7-1 record to move into second place plus 902. So Jake Peters in second place plus 902. Tom Doherty plus 874 in third. He went 6-2. Anthony Simonson, the runner-up from the 2020 U.S. Open, plus 818, 5-3 record, sits in fourth. And then A.J. Johnson enters today with 16 games to go in the 5th spot, plus 808. He posted a 6-2 record. That is your top 5. The first player out, 2020 champion, Jason Belmonte, 95 pins back at plus 713. Patrick Dombrowski in 7th place. He finished the day with a 300, the first 300 in the tournament proper here at the U.S. Open. 5-3 record plus 687. He's 121 back. Sean Rash is in 8th place. 147 pins back at the cut at plus 661. We'll talk about Sean a little bit more in a second here. Francois Lavoie, the two-time U.S. Open champion, is in ninth place plus 621. And then Wes Malott plus 585, the 2013 champion, rounds out the top 10 at plus 585. We've talked about it many times here on Bowl TV, and in this type of format, match play, 30 bonus pins per victory. You typically look at how many games you have left, how many bonus pins are available. So with 16 games left to go, 30 points for a win, that's 480 bonus pins still out there. And that still keeps a large majority of the field still within striking distance of that top 5 number. Even going into going into 20th place, Brad Miller plus 352. So within range, obviously needs a monster day, but it is out there. We've seen some big scores throughout the course of the competition since the introduction of the 40-foot pattern. So you can go 300 over on a block here, but it's a matter of if you're collecting the wins as well. And when I mentioned Sean earlier today, I think he is, the one player you kind of want to circle and take a look at in this opening round to see what he is able to do and see if he can catch a couple of breaks, because Sean had the second highest block yesterday. He went 286 over for his 8 games, but only posted a 3-5 record. He lost 4 games shooting 225 or more, including a 255 to 279 loss to Jake Peters in Game 7 last night. So Sean was firing big games, but his opponents continued to keep pace with him. So, if you turn those 4 games where he shot 225 plus into victories, then all of a sudden he is 20 pins out of the show right now going into the second round instead of being 147 back. So that's kind of the craziness of match play. It's all about who you're facing in the moment that time. Can you take advantage and get those bonus pins? 30 for the victory, 15 for a tie. If you happen to lose the match, no bonus pins for you. Of course, all information on the 2022 event available, bowl.com/US Open. From that page, you can find things like the match play schedule, prize fund, topography report, live scoring, pairings, of course, scores, oil patterns, and more. Live scoring is up and available. Big thank you to Rick Barbera and our friends at Brunswick. Sync is up and running, so you can keep an eye on all pairs throughout the course of competition. Just by glancing at live scoring, I can see that Tom Doherty has started off with the front 5, taking on Kevin McCune. Kevin, another player, similar to Sean, just could not catch a break in his matches. He was bowling well throughout the course of the block, but went 1-7 and actually moved up 2 spots in the standings to 18th place. So once again, just not catching the breaks along the way, and you kind of need that too. Obviously, you need to bowl great. Top 24 players here. I've been bowling well throughout the course of the week, but head-to-head matches, anything can happen in one game. Got to be able to take advantage of those breaks and turn in some momentum when you're able to find it. As we settle in to our matches here, I want to say good morning and hello to everybody watching the broadcast today on bowltv.com. Of course, we'll be here throughout the course of the day. See a lot of familiar names in the Bowl TV chat. So good morning, everybody. We are also simulcasting to Flow Bowling. So hello to the good folks watching on Flow. And for game number 1, we're also sharing the stream to Facebook and YouTube, the Sport of Bowling USBC Facebook page and the Bowl TV YouTube channel. But remember, just for game 1 for those platforms. So in order to continue watching throughout the course of the day, be sure to check out bowltv.com, pick up a subscription, an event ticket for $12.95 to watch the rest of the day. You can pick up a monthly recurring subscription, which gives you access to the live coverage and everything available on bowltv.com for $9.95. and then an annual recurring subscription, $79.95. The best way to support the PWBA Tour and check out all the great action from USBC's short duration events and more. Transaction fees do apply at all 3 price points. As a heads up. So I mentioned a great Bowl TV community chat here for every broadcast and giveaways throughout the course of the day as well. And a signed bowling pin and a Nintendo Switch to give away before it's all said and done on the day. And we know our top 5 for tomorrow's FS1 show. So, folks, we've mentioned where you can check out the standings. We talked about the top 5 and the players in the mix a couple spots back. I'm going to put it on everybody here in the early morning. How are you feeling? If we said you had to pick a top 5 right now, who is making the show at the 2022 U.S. Open? Who would be your top 5? Let us know in the chats. Kuba wants to be in the top 5, throwing some great shots here. He's had a really nice tournament throughout the course of the week after qualifying through the pre-tournament qualifier last Sunday. Oh, Frankie. We've seen more of those hits than you would expect to see. With the top players in the world and big rev rates we're used to seeing on the PBA Tour. These pins were installed just days before the start of the tournament. So Nick Hoagland described them as logs. So you got to chop them down. And we've seen a lot of corner pins throughout the course of the week. We've seen a lot of weird hits like that as well. Just kind of thinking about it and falling. Don't actually topple over. Tom Doherty did not strike in the 6th frame, but he has 7 out of 8. He can still shoot 279. So the big game right here really is out there for Belmo, who, as we mentioned, was the first player out of the top 5 to start the day. We'll see if he can keep it going, make it 6 in a row against Francois. The light mixer doesn't get the 7 pin out, so the string ends at 5. This has really been EJ Tackett's tournament since day number 1. He is, when you think about kind of this stat, we're 40 games in now, 4 different oil patterns. At the end of the day, the lowest EJ has been in the overall standings has been 2nd. He took the overall lead by 6 pins over Simonson to end qualifying. And then he had the monster block in the Cashers round to build nearly a 300-pin lead over the field. As we mentioned, he gave a couple of pins back heading throughout match play, a little more love-hate relationship with his 40-foot pattern. But still north of a 200-pin lead entering competition today. Kuba keeping it going. Folks, throughout the day, we will be welcoming in guests to the Bowl TV booth. And just like that, we have our first joining today. JT Jason Thomas. Welcome back to Bowl TV, JT.
It's the final day at the U.S. Open, Aaron. Excitement is in the air.
It feels good, doesn't it?
It does. It certainly does.
Kuba adds another one. He can get to 269 this game, so the best EJ can get if he punches out here 237. So Kuba would just need a mark in the 10th to lock this up. Francois in a bit of trouble here. Just the two early doubles hasn't struck since frame number 5, however. Belmonte can still shoot 269.
Dennis Hacker. He's awesome. JT is a guest. I am. He's gonna cook dinner for me later, Dennis, and I'm doing him a favor here by
and by cooking dinner he means going through the drive-through. So
correct. But wow, what an exciting day we have today. Can anybody catch EJ Tackett? EJ it was interesting. He's been kind of even keeled all week, and he seemed a little on edge last night. Even though he finished with 279, he was kind of like, man, if I didn't finish with that 279, tonight would be a little stressful for me.
It was interesting to hear what he had to say. I mentioned Matt's article yesterday, and one of the quotes from EJ talking about his overall day on Friday. I was able to see the lane really well this morning, talking about yesterday morning during the cashers round. But when we bowled tonight, meaning the first round of match play yesterday, I felt like everything was backward, and I ended up with a no hook to the right and no hold on almost every pair. I don't know if that's because of the number of bowlers or the percentage of urethane balls going down the lane. We're going to talk about it and try to figure it out. I might make some surface changes or potentially go to the few different balls he hasn't used on his ball card yet for the day and kind of go from there. So interesting to see after the look he had. It was a little surprising to not see EJ with the front 5 every game.
Yeah, but I did kind of see that could be a possibility, and we did allude to it early on in the block because EJ basically had mentioned it. He said, we'll see how they break down, over the course of match play, because we got one less player on the lanes on each pair, and then the other piece is, he had Simo crossing with him during that round, and he was throwing urethane for the majority of the day, and so even if a pair didn't have any hold for EJ, usually by about midway through the game, Simo had built up a nice little bit of hold for him. So I'm not surprised to see that was the case. I'm not surprised to see that he bowled 279 the last game, because I think by then he was starting to see what he liked, very early on in that previous block. But the fact that Jake Peters bowled so well, throwing urethane from out, I think it showed that might be the better strategy now that we're in match play on this particular pattern.
And that was one thing EJ did mention when we had him on the broadcast after that big opening block, is that I believe he said he didn't have a urethane ball in his bag for this round. So
yeah,
so he is and he can't make any substitutions at this point until the TV show.
Yeah.
So he is dancing with the one he came with.
He isn't, but you could tell he was very relieved with that 279 that last game, because that builds his lead back up heading into today.
Well, EJ's going to have a nice 237 to add to his plus total, but no bonus pins, as Matt Kuba has delivered the first hit in the 10th. And Belmo in the 240s is going to collect the victory over Francois Lavoie.
Yeah, he looks awfully sharp right now.
And then I'm going to watch his shot first before I say anything. Because that nearly just happened. I mentioned Sean Rash as a player to watch because he had the second highest block yesterday over the 8 games, but only posted a 3-5 record. He's over on 49.50 right now, and he's looking, or he's going to shoot his first sub 200 game here in match play. But he's going to collect the win against Zach Wilkins. So 3-5 record for Sean yesterday. But finding an early win, even though the look wasn't quite what it was for him in the early going. Yesterday, he shot 700 basically and was 0-3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to get, catch people at the right time, win those matches. Some of it's luck, some of it's just, making the right shot when you need it. But we kind of had an idea in our heads, I think, that maybe 3 of the spots on the show going into match play were somewhat spoken for. And then who would kind of sneak in and make those last 2 spots. And Sean was certainly a name that we all thought, could sneak into one of those last 2 spots.
A few final shots here from Francois. So as we get toward the end of game 1, just a friendly housekeeping reminder that we will take a quick reset after game number 1 here, and the feed will only be available on bowltv.com, also simulcast on Flow Bowling. So for those of you watching our sneak peek on Facebook and YouTube, head on over bowltv.com, pick up a subscription, say hi in the Bowl TV chat, and join us for the day.
Yeah, this is it. This is it, folks. We got 15 more games after today. After this game, and we're gonna know our top 5 for tomorrow's show. So you're not gonna want to miss it. Our final round of match play broadcast is always the biggest broadcast of the year on Bowl TV. So you're not gonna want to miss it. It's gonna be epic. There's always gonna be something cool that happens during that round. Somebody making a run at the show like we saw Pete Weber do. By the way, this is the 10-year anniversary of Who Do You Think You Are, I Am?
Who do you think you are, JT?
So that year, Pete made a huge run to make that show. So will something like that happen tonight? You'll have to tune in to find out.
Struck to claim it. All right, Frankie is going to finish up with 230, but not enough to get the win, but he will add on to his plus total as he looks to make another show here at the U.S. Open. But Elmo with the win, along with Matt Kuba over EJ Tackett, but some big scores here on 31 through 34 out of the gates. But folks, we're going to take a quick break to reset once again. BowlTV.com, the place to be to watch the rest of the action for today. So we'll take a quick reset and we'll be right back for game 2 and the rest of round 2 of match play here at the 2022 U.S. Open.